Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Hey, welcome everybody to Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, performance enhancement expert, and author Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 44 countries, such as the U.S., India, Canada, Belgium, France, Australia, Panama. So thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformations. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that has changed our lives and how we use these to help transform others and elevate their lives as well. Now, you can listen to us every Wednesday and on the first and third Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. However, on other days, on Tuesday, Thursday, we have these special pop-up episodes, so stay tuned for some of those that'll come your way. You can also join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio Community. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, TuneIn, and the Google Play Music app, so don't forget to subscribe. On the show, we have impactful and amazing guests that are impacting everyone around them, and my guest today does exactly that. So if you have any questions for any of our guests, this is a live show, so you call in at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. So please help me welcome to the show, Rob Kosberg. What's up, brother?
Hey, Sean, how are you, man? That was a mouthful, wasn't it?
We got to set the tone, you know? We got to set the tone. Dude, I am so pumped to have you on the show, man. Like I've been looking at your stuff for a while and following what you're doing, and man, you are absolutely crushing it.
Oh, thanks, brother. I love what I do. I have the best clients in the world, and I like to think we're doing something really cool, you know, helping people get their message out. It's a pretty neat opportunity.
Oh, absolutely, man. And as an author, you know, as soon as I saw all this, I was like, oh, yeah, like, let's do this. You know, like, I think there's a lot of other people that, you know, write these books, and it's just supposed to be a massive success, but there's a little more that goes into it. You know, it's not just write the book, send it out, all of a sudden it's bestseller, let's you know, millions of dollars. Kind of doesn't work that way.
No, it really doesn't. In fact, the average book, you'll probably never hear this from most publishers, but the average book sells like 200 copies in its lifetime. And so if you just, you know, publish your book or self-publish it on Amazon or whatever and cross your fingers, then you're probably going to be very disappointed. And, you know, that's sad because people really put their heart and soul into writing a book. It's not easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the title of this episode is Attracting Media, Speaking Engagements, and Clients Using a Best-Selling Book. Rob Kosberg is an international best-selling author, the founder of Bestseller Publishing, and has been featured on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, and the Wall Street Journal. Rob has spoken to and taught thousands of entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants how to stop hunting for clients and instead position themselves as the hunted. His clients include U.S. ambassadors, CEOs of billion-dollar company with a B, big B, CEOs of billion-dollar companies, professional athletes, as well as experts, coaches, and consultants from 26 different niches. Through his trademarked, publish, promote, profit program, Rob helps his clients to create their own professional best-selling book, guaranteed, and then teaches them how to use that book to grow their income via speaking engagements, free publicity, and a lead generation strategy. He has been kind enough to offer a free gift, so it's the Book Yourself on TV Instant Media Authority course, and you can go to bestseller.clickfunnels.com/giveaway. opt in. It's right there in the show notes. You can click right on there, go straight to figure out how they book a best-selling author on TV, radio, and major speaking all over the place. So, Rob, the first question I always ask is why? Why do you do what you do?
Yeah, big question, right?
Yeah.
You know, I certainly didn't plan for this career. I backed my way into it, if you will. But I had choices, and I decided in this direction for a couple of reasons. I wrote a book about 10 years ago on the heels of a really big business failure. And you remember what happened 10 years ago, 2008, 2007, we had the financial crisis. And I owned several real estate companies, fairly large companies. And my companies went from doing over $100 million a year in transactions to zero. And, you know, I wish they would have, gone down 50%, but it went all the way to zero. And, you know, at that time I was in my early 40s, and I was needing to reinvent myself. I wanted out of real estate, had been in real estate a long time. And so I wrote this book, actually on the advice of some other folks, and the book really helped me explode a brand new business in financial services. But it did some ancillary stuff. I mean, not only did it help me to, you know, make $1 million my first year in a terrible economy, but people started coming to me asking me how I'm doing it and if I could actually help them. And so I started helping people to do their own books, to launch them, to use their book to generate speaking engagements, media, leads for their company, etc. And I fell in love with it. I ended up selling my financial services company, which was still doing fantastic, and I decided to go all in on publishing about 7 years ago, just because I felt like, wow, I'm like helping people to spread their message, to make, you know, a massive difference in the world and in their own world, in their own lives and families. And so, you know, to me, it's very meaningful.
That's amazing. Well needed. I mean, it's the most frustrating thing is like we were talking about, to put heart and soul into something and just doesn't go anywhere. It just stays. Or I believe that everybody has a book too, like in their lifetime. I think everybody should write a book. I believe that there's a lot of books that don't get written out of fear or you know, financial reasons or otherwise. So talk about what was that transformational moment, because you know I got a lot of real estate friends. I'm in a couple of masterminds, and they always reference that, like, dude, you don't even know about 2008 owning a business. You don't even know. So the guys that lost millions and businesses folded and crumbled, and, you know, talk about that transformational moment where somebody says, hey, can you help me with this? And it turns into a business and just kind of escalates from there. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. You know, there were a couple of transformational moments in the beginning. One was, I remember when I first launched my book, and you know, I came off this massive business failure, and I was one of those guys that lost millions of dollars, and you know, was really scared because you know, I've been married a long time, I have 3 great kids, and you know, I'm the breadwinner and supporter of my family. And so when I had to reinvent myself and you know, was using this book to start a brand new business, I remember I got a radio interview on terrestrial radio. This was 10 years ago, so it was not pre-podcast, but they certainly weren't as popular as they are now. And on that radio interview, I offered a copy of my book. I was featured as a best-selling author on this topic, and it was a financial-related book. And of course, we were still in, you know, dire straits, you know, the country was from a financial perspective. And I remember that night after the radio interview, you know, they replayed it. It was a short interview, you know, 3 to 5 minute segment, but they replayed it several times during the day. And that night it was about 6 o'clock, and I was in my office, and the phone rang. It was just me, and I picked up the phone and answered it, and you know, I said, hey, you know, Crown Services, this is Rob, and the person on the other end of the line said, is this Rob Kosberg? And I was like, yeah, do I owe you money? I didn't know who it was.
Right.
And I said, yeah, this is Rob. And she said, is this Rob, the author who was featured on the radio today? And I said, yeah. And she said, wow, I can't believe I'm talking to you. And it hit me like that had never happened to me in my life before. I'm a regular guy. But it hit me like, that we had a 20-minute conversation. She became a client. It was very, very easy because I had, in her eyes at least, I had a bit of like celebrity and authority because I was an author and because I had been on this radio show. And I've seen that play out 10,000 times in the last 10 years for myself, but now for my clients as well. So that moment was transformational because I was no longer hunting for clients. They were now hunting for me, and I could actually help other people to experience the same thing using a best-selling book as the foundation. So it was transformational.
Oh, I gotcha. That's amazing. You never know. One interview, one thing that you do, and it just kind of, burst open the doors. You just never know. So is that
you don't.
One of the
it was
best
shocking. I didn't expect it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So is that one of the best parts so far, like about that new, transformation into what you're doing now, or can you talk about something that really sticks out, one of the best parts about your journey?
Well, the best part now is, seeing this happen for other people. I was just going through Facebook. We do a lot on Facebook and social media advertising, and I was going through Facebook just before this interview, and we're creating new web page and looking at posting some various social media proofs, and I just saw on my various client Facebook pages, I just saw post after post after post of this client getting a speaking engagement because she was introduced to someone because of her book. This client earning $100,000 because of how the book in a period of a couple of months brought on new clients. This client appearing on KABC and KTLA in Los Angeles, which is the number 2 TV market in the country, 15 million homes. Just, it's like these people had never experienced anything like that. And their book and working with us, just has made a massive impact in their lives. And so that to me it's the best part right now.
That's awesome. So one of the downsides, things that we do, it can't be all sunshine and rainbows, talk about something that maybe didn't work out the way that you thought, or maybe, one of the worst moments that you've had.
Well, the worst moment is easy. That was, that was my business failure. I experienced a lot of success in business and built a pretty good sized company. I had dozens of employees, a couple dozen anyway, 20, 24, 25, big 6,000 square foot office space. I owned millions of dollars in real estate. I owned real estate all over the country. This was my office, and my primary business was in South Florida. And, it started going bad probably the beginning of 2007, maybe the end of 2006. And, you just don't know what you don't know. And so real estate had never really fallen massively. Maybe there were times in Florida where it had flattened out, but I watched over the next 18 months some of the real estate that I owned dropped as much as 60 to 70% in value. And I had, I'm 53 years old now. I had never seen anything like that.
Right.
And it was, so all my, I put down hundreds of thousands of dollars of my hard-earned money to buy these various properties, and now they weren't even worth what I owed on them. And it was it was devastating. So closing my business, selling my furnishings and computers and and phone systems and all that stuff for 5 cents on the dollar, putting ads on Craigslist just to earn some money. I mean that I don't know how much worse it can get. Right. Pretty bad.
That hurt a little bit.
Oh my gosh, it was so painful. I was scared. I was scared for myself, for my family.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I was still serving in the military. I had a business. I mean, I built 3 businesses while serving in the military, and at that time I just had like an entertainment company. I was the sound guy for conferences. I did bars, clubs, weddings, parties, anything that anybody needed, a DJ, photographer, videographer, weddings, all that stuff. Like that was us. Like karaoke, we did all that. So I think I was kind of in a safe business, but definitely felt a little bit of it because people weren't having a lot of weddings. They weren't spending a lot of money. So definitely felt a little bit of it, but not as bad as some of the ones I've heard. So I got to ask you, you're bouncing back. You're starting to help people with their books and getting them launched, and you're riding this wave now. Were there any influencers that you had, mentors, anybody that you looked towards to jump into this new venture that you had?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I am a big believer in coaching and mentorship. I didn't really have somebody that was directly in like publishing to help me, guide me along this path. But, 10 years ago when I was making this transition, I had a couple of coaches and mentors, and I was in a mastermind group. And it was in that group and with those individuals that I asked, hey, if you were in my position where, you got a business that's going down the tubes and you want to reinvent yourself in a brand new industry, what would you do? And they were the ones, 2 guys specifically, that suggested I write a book, and that their best clients come from their books that they've written. And so, from the very beginning of this kind of adventure, it was because of advice from, trusted mentors that I got on this path. And even to this day, I'm in 3 very, very high-level mastermind groups with really, really smart people that I'm constantly learning from. So, I mean, I'm a huge believer in that. I mean, it's a way to shortcut your success, to get to the end result faster than, and it's way too expensive to keep making mistakes. I mean, in my opinion, that's way more expensive than hiring a great coach or mentor.
Absolutely. I would much rather pay $5,000 to $10,000 now instead of, $50,000 or $60,000, because, I mean, I started out speaking, and I've got courses in my email that I've paid for. I haven't even opened yet. I mean, literally, I've got all these emails. I'm on email lists. Like, I was like, I got to know this, and I was in consume mode, and I never even started them. Welcome to this course. I never even started the course. I would have saved so much more money if I would have said, okay, let me find out who's doing what at the level I want to do it at. Let me see who the big players are, and just let me learn from them. I don't know what it's going to take, but let me just learn from them. I would have saved myself a lot of pain and a lot of headache, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, I'm a huge believer in that as well. And there's at this point, I buy some courses. You can buy courses for $100 to $1,000, but at this point in my business, I really just want to write a bigger check and either have people do things for me, or have a coach or mentor really guide me through the process. And so, I mean, it depends on where you're at with your business and with your life, but courses and books. I mean, I read a couple of books every single week. I'm in a couple of different books, and so, this is the way you can tap into $1 billion network by reading and learning and growing.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about, I don't want to get too far because I don't want to give away all your secrets, but can you talk about, what is it that you do? Like, how do you attract the media and the speaking engagements and, all the clients using the book? I think first of all, you have to be a bestseller. I think that because that's what we're talking about, how we book the best-selling authors. So kind of walk us through, like, what should someone be looking for?
Well, let's start from the very beginning and just consider the premise for a moment. If you're in business, you're in competition. Now, I believe in an abundant world, so I don't believe that you need to, be evil or think you need to stamp out or destroy your competition. But you also need to be realistic and know that, if you're trying to book a speaking engagement, well, guess what? There are probably 3, 4, 5, 10 other people that are interested in that speaking engagement and the fee that would come with it. The same if you're a financial advisor or if you're an attorney, if you're a doctor or whatever, there are others that your potential client is considering. So if that's the case, then imagine for a moment that all things being equal, you are the author of a book on the topic. Not only are you the author, but you're the author of a book that was a best-selling book in multiple countries, an international bestseller, and that you've even been featured on media like podcasts, blogs, even radio and TV. So if everything else is equal, even if it's not, and you're the best-selling author on the topic and have been on media, well, who's going to be chosen, right? Like who is the winner in that competition? And it's clear the winner is the author because they are more naturally an authority. So if you just understand that premise personally, then you can begin to understand, okay, why we do what we do and how we use that authority to, help our clients to grow their businesses. Right. There are obviously lots of moving parts in how to write a book, and we have a whole ghostwriting team, and there's lots of other things that are done. But if you get the premise down, then you go, okay, I could see why during the worst economy, ever, at least in the last 80 years since the Great Depression, I can see why Rob's business was growing while others were not. I don't. It's not about the credit given to me. It's I had the tools that others didn't.
Right. Is there a set time frame that it takes or that your team takes to write a best-selling book?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, the content still has to come from the author, right? I mean, you're the expert on your thing. So we have to pull that content out of you. And most of our authors are busy entrepreneurs. And so we recommend at least one session a week where, an author is going to devote, 60 to 90 minutes in both preparation and recording time so that a chapter can be done. And if you're doing a 8 to 10 chapter book, then you're talking about 8 to 10 weeks of recording. Now, if you're motivated, you can certainly do more than one recording a week, right? I mean, you can do 2 or 3 chapters. I've had clients that have done their whole book in just a few days. But that's not the norm. The norm is anybody can give 90 minutes a week to this. And if you do that, then in 2 or 3 months you're gonna have the content done.
Definitely. Yeah, I wrote my book from 2016, end of January, beginning of February, around that time, and I finished in June. Yeah, June. My sister, who's an English major, so that was nice.
I gave it to her to edit, right?
Yeah, man, she tore it up too, man. She's like, "What? Like, this doesn't even make sense." Like, some of it was like, "Oh god!" Like it looked, because she used red to like highlight all the changes. It looked like it was bleeding. It was so bad. Like, that doesn't make sense. You can't use that punctuation. Like, I had broken like every grammar rule ever. She's like, "Your use of like semicolons is ridiculous." So I give it to her, and she did it July to August, and then August got uploaded to CreateSpace. That's what I used, CreateSpace for the paperback. Used KDP for the Kindle version, and then September 1st, man, it rolled out, and thankfully I've sold over 200 copies. So when I heard that stat, I was like, oh god. No. So thankfully I've sold over. You know what's funny is I sell more at conferences and events and meetups than I do actually on my website or on Amazon. So I don't know if that makes a difference.
Well, I'll tell you a secret some authors don't like to hear, but you're a person, you're an influencer, you have your own show, you understand marketing. We tell our clients, look, once the book is done and it's a bestseller, it's no longer about the book. It's about you. And so we tell our clients, find ways to get your book into the right people's hands for free. Yep. Send them email, not email, but mail, direct mail. So, send them a physical copy of your book for free, because that introduction, I've had clients that have signed six-figure agreements with, $100 million companies because they mailed a book to the CEO of the company. So is it worth mailing a few books that cost you $5? Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my speaker coach is John Vroman. I'm not sure if you know who John Vroman is. He wrote a book called so he wrote the book called The Front Row Factor, and he has a foundation called the Front Row Foundation, where he takes like young people, like children and teens and stuff, and adults, to any front row experience of their choosing. So I take them to concerts, football games, whatever. But the whole premise is that they have a terminally ill, they're terminally ill, brain tumors, all they may not survive. Some of them beat the breast cancer, but the brain tumors and stuff, ultimately they end up passing away. So his premise is that I want to live in the front row. I want to live in their front row moment. And so he takes them to front row moments, sit front row at a WWE wrestling event or UFC, Denver Broncos games, a Kiss concert, Bon Jovi, something, soccer game. And he told me, he's like, that's exactly what I do. Like, if I want to speak somewhere and I know it's really hard to get in there, I will mail them ahead of time a book and a handwritten letter talking about, how I'd love to speak at this conference that's coming up. And he says, I'll send out 100 books. And sometimes I will get booked. And other times, 2 years later, somebody is in a new position at a new company and says, hey, man, remember you sent this book to this company? I now work for this other company. Come speak at our company, So you just never know.
Yep. I completely agree. That is a process that we teach our clients. And you're giving some gold here on this, because that is a process that works. We tell our clients, if you want to get yourself booked out for speaking engagements more than you could ever have, then what you need to do is you need to have a list of all the ideal conferences, associations, even private organizations that you want to speak to. You need to get who the organizer is of those things, and you need to mail out 5 to 6 books every single week, and then you need to follow up with or have an assistant follow up with a phone call, and you need to do that consistently every single week. When you do that with a handwritten note and a cover letter and all that, then in the first month or two, you're going to start getting telephone calls, you're going to start getting appointments, and within 2 months, you're going to start getting bookings. And in fact, you can book yourself solid using that one strategy if you do it consistently. It works.
Oh, yeah. You want to know an absolute massive strategy that nobody's using? I'm going to blow your mind right here. I'm going to blow your mind. So a lot of people don't know this. And so I'm all about giving value to podcast hosts. Every time I'm on a podcast, I try to figure out a way to give back value. Here's my number one strategy. Here it is. Amazon, when you're an author, you have an Author Central page. Okay?
Yep.
So on your Author Central page is a little block that nobody uses. It has a name, business, websites, whatever, and then it says blog. So what people are supposed to do is put in like their blog or whatever. My podcast RSS feed is in that spot. And so my podcast can be found on my Author Central page, and I get, on average, 200 to 226 more downloads because my show is on my Author Central page rather than not having it there.
Very cool.
And no other podcaster is doing that. Nobody's doing that. I ask them all the time, like, is your show on Amazon? You mean Alexa? No, I mean Amazon. Are you an author? Yes. Is your show on Amazon? No. Fail. Like, how do I find your author page, for example, on Amazon? Because that's really good right there. So let's say someone stumbles across my book. Well, first of all, to answer your question bluntly, I don't advertise my book. I advertise on Facebook and social media my Author Central page.
Gotcha.
So that's what.
So you use your Author Central page in that way. And is that the Decisions book?
That is the Decisions book. It is.
Gotcha.
So
very cool.
On Amazon, if you look at the book, right, you look at the book page, right, it'll say about the author. If you click on that, it takes you to the Author Central page. On the Author Central page, you will see Life Transformation Radio.
Yep. Yeah, I'm on it right now. I just clicked on it.
There you go.
While we're talking. This is the cool thing about technology. You can literally do this while you're listening to the show. So I see all these blog posts. Do you have the show transcribed and made into a blog?
I was at first, and then I just, I don't see, I didn't see any returns in like the first 6. But what I did then is I took my book and made it into a blog as a marketing tool. See, what I do is I took the first chapter or the first paragraph, right, and then I took the last paragraph, and I was like, hey, this is chapter of the book, and check out a little excerpt of my book. And then I took the first paragraph of the chapter and the last paragraph of the chapter, wrote a blog about that in the middle. And then at the end, I was like, I hope you liked it. And this is some of the things that I've been through and this, that, and what the book is about. And you'll learn resilient strategies and how to overcome. And that's what I did every single time. And I did that for all my chapters. And I got a crap load of pre-orders doing that up until the launch.
Nice. Very cool. Good strategies right there.
Dude, that's there it is. But a lot of people aren't doing that. I'm like, how are you not using that real estate? That's real estate that can be used. And you know what it is a lot of people don't even know about it. They're like, wait, I can do that? Like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
many great tools, man, that you can use.
Absolutely. So we talked about the getting the bestseller and leveraging that book for speaking engagements. How do you use the book to get on media? Right now, I use Haro, which is Help a Reporter Out. You go to Haro, or actually you go to helpareporter.com or .net. It's one of the two. It's Help a Reporter Out. Yep, .com, and that's what I use. That's exactly.
Sean, did I lose you?
And then I'll tell them, hey, I got this book. Let me send it to you, And so Haro's been a great strategy. What are some of the things that you, as far as media, help your clients to achieve? Is it to get on podcasts, get on TV shows?
Yes to that, but it's a bit of everything. So, your strategy is a great strategy that works. What we also recommend is just like for speaking engagements, right? Like the book strategy for speaking engagements, you can do the exact same thing with media. So, I'd love to say that there's some type of, magic to get on TV. And there is in one sense, but in another sense, it's good old-fashioned elbow grease. I have 2 full-time publicists here in my office that actually book our clients on radio and media and all kinds of TV. And how do we do it? I mean, we get on the telephone, we send a copy of the book, of our client's best-selling book, to the producer of the show, and we send a one-sheet and pitch him. And with the book comes credibility and authority, and then with a little elbow grease comes the convincing of, hey, let's get them booked. And so we do that.
Awesome.
So I'd love to say that there's magic involved. But the reality is, if you're willing to, if you got a book and you got that kind of authority and you're willing to get on the telephone and pitch, then you're going to be successful. You're going to build relationships and you're going to get some appearances. Yeah.
Do they have to, like when you're on the cold call, do they have to say yes, send me the book, or do you just send it automatically?
We'll send it automatically in some cases. Obviously, we've been doing this a long time, so we have relationships.
I like it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, we want to, if we got a big placement, we want to get somebody in front of. I mean, we've had clients on everything from Howard Stern to U.S. News and World Report, Entrepreneur Magazine, and then all kinds of TV. Every week we have clients on TV all over the country.
That's
so,
awesome.
so we've built a lot of relationships, but we started from scratch, and so
Yeah.
it was getting the book in people's hands, and then getting on the telephone and pitching. And it's not hard when you have the pieces in place. I mean, part of the giveaway that I have is some actual training on how we do this, and how your listener can do it as well.
Awesome. I love it. Love it. Yeah, I've set things out like that. Like, I'm like, oh, let me get on, not like Good Morning America or like Today Show or something like that, but, like a local, there's always like a local kind of morning show type, segment or something. Hey, are you there?
I am. I lost you there for a minute. I'm not sure what happened.
It's weird. It was like a weird hook hang up. I don't know what happened. I was talking to myself.
Yeah, I stayed, but I don't know what happened. I lost you, but I am still here.
Yeah. So I was saying that, like, my dream is to be on like Ellen and Steve Harvey. I think that would be two awesome shows. That would just be absolutely cool. But yeah, I think that, a lot of times, from what I've seen, is I've got this book, and it's, and that's it. Like, I wrote the book, and now I'm on to something else, and I always tell people that I talk to, especially like a podcast
that is so
and stuff
silly.
like, yeah. I'm like, how are you repurposing your content, for your podcast? Well, I share it, but no, how are you repurposing it? Same thing with your book.
Yeah.
How are you repurposing? See, what I was always told was that your book, whatever your title, whatever, you need to go on either a book tour or a speaking tour about your book. So let's say that, in 2016, which I did, in 2016 when my book was done, and into 2017, I said, it's time to get booked based on my keynote of, and then the title of the book. So, overcoming self-defeating behaviors. And for like 6 months, I was knocking them out, with that keynote, targeting, mental health conferences and entrepreneur conferences, and because everybody has self-defeating behaviors. So that was like targeted all automatically when I was writing the book. I already knew who I was writing it for. Do you see that a lot where people go on book tours or speaking tours where, if I said, hey, Rob Kosberg's book, attracting media and speaking engagements using this book, and here's your strategies, and then you go on this speaking tour speaking only your keynote about this book. Is that pretty common?
It is. Here's the I'll say mistake with that, and you alluded to it in the beginning. If you've written a book about your primary business that you love and that you're planning on being in for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then don't think of it as a speaking tour. Think of it as, this is just part of what I do now. The book can continue to get you media, speaking appearances, opportunities, day after day, month after month, year after year, as long as you want them. So what a lot of people think about is they compare a traditional publisher that gets a big book deal with a, fill in the blank, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, right? And then they go on this big speaking tour to promote the book. We don't do that. It's not about promoting the book for our clients.
Right.
It's about the book promoting the author for our clients.
That makes sense.
And so that's something you want to happen all the time, forever, not just during the book launch itself.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's a completely 180 mindset, because everybody's focused on got to get book sales. Everybody needs to know my book. Everybody knows their book. What you're saying is that your book is actually a connect card. It's a calling card. It's a
super powerful tool that you'll use forever to get what you want. Who cares if it sells, right? I mean, of course it's going to sell, but I tell my clients, who cares if it sells? You can either make $2.50 or you can make $25,000. Which would you rather make? I mean, I'd rather make the $25,000 because it takes a whole lot of 250s to add up to the $25,000. And you're just not going to sell that many books unless your name is Kim Kardashian or, some super famous, well-known person. But someone like me, when I created a book, and was totally unknown 10 years ago, I could still use that book to make $1 million in a year, and then many millions using the book because I promoted myself and my business with the book. And I could still be doing it with that book. I'm just not in that business anymore. Now I'm in a completely different one. So it's just a different mentality that we suggest for our authors.
Definitely. So what is it that you enjoy most about what you do?
Oh, that's easy. The thing I enjoy most is seeing my author's success.
That's awesome.
I mean, there are lots of elements within what I do that's fun. Like it's fun to see an author finally get their book done. It's fun to see an author, get their first TV appearance. It's fun to see them get a TED Talk. But in general, it's just seeing the joy that they have in like this thing that was a dream now actually coming to fruition. That's just so cool. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. So talk about where you're headed now. We got new adventures, business, family. What's your goals and whatnot for 2018?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing some things differently. Our goals for our business is continue to grow it. Our business has grown significantly every year in the 7 years, and we really want to make some big strides. So we're doing things. We've created a couple of new programs, if you will, to try to make this accessible to more people. Obviously, it's not inexpensive to hire a company like mine that is a professional ghostwriting service and book launch service and PR and media firm, right? I mean, any of those individually are expensive, let alone adding them all together. And so, what we've tried to do more recently is come up with some programs that now more people could have access to, and that we can make a bigger splash, if you will, for people that have a message and a desire, but maybe don't have the funds that a successful business person might have. And so we're doing that for bestseller publishing. We're also launching our own PR certification program, which is kind of cool. That's along the same lines of what I do, but different also in one sense, because now we're actually going to be teaching other people our method of getting clients on TV, radio, etc. And so what's different is we're teaching that and helping people to build businesses in and around PR and media. And so that's very, very new. In fact, I've never spoken about it publicly until right now. So
that's awesome.
That I'm very excited about. Who knows? It could fall flat on its face, but I'm excited about it. I think it's going to do well.
I think that podcast, and something I saw today is absolutely going to blow your mind. I'm sure you probably already know about it, but podcasts are like new media. Like,
oh yeah,
it was great before podcasts, cool, whatever. But more and more and more and more podcasts are becoming. God, there's so many now. And so the ones that have been in it for a while are the ones that are really winning with sponsorships, and you can monetize, and it's really taken on a life of its own. But something I saw today, and I'm thinking about doing, how Gary Vee does his
Daily V?
Gary Vaynerchuk, Daily V, his daily vlog, right? Okay, so Mike Rowe has a new show. Season 2 starts today. Mike Rowe has a new show called what was it, like giving back, or it was something. It was about honoring people that do well in the world. Like they're givers. So what he's doing is he's basically, just returning the favor. That's what it's called. That's what's called returning the favor.
Cool.
So he goes around to different
guy.
communities. I love Mike Rowe. So he goes around to different communities, and someone who is an action taker, they're a giver, it could be a teacher, a police officer, somebody, right, and has a nonprofit, whatever the case would be. And what he does is he takes a TV camera and everything, and he goes there and he does, basically a vlog about them. And you can only watch it on Facebook Watch. And I'm like, okay, so if our attention is on our phones and Facebook has its own TV channel,
yeah,
I need to be where the audience is at.
100%. Yep.
So I'm trying to figure out, everybody does Facebook Live for their podcast. Sometimes they do a Facebook Live show. I'm like, man, I need to get on Facebook Watch. Like, that's what I need to get on. So I think that if we can figure out a way to do that, there's going to be a ton of people, because it's becoming TV and social media like all in one phone, and that's all I need. I don't even need cable. I don't need, whatever else. Like, Facebook is really putting it together to where they're having their own TV station.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, Gary Vee did he does his daily podcast and Daily V and all that. He did a great podcast you might want to listen to, where he spoke at the Agent 2021 just like 2 weeks ago.
I've heard that. Yeah.
He's talking about going all in even more, because I don't know if you have kids. I have kids. My kids are a little older now, but my youngest is 17. He watches no television, zero TV. Everything he watches is on YouTube or on social media. He does not. He does not have a TV. We might watch a little TV together, like we might watch a sporting event or something like that, but he watches almost zero TV, and that is this up-and-coming generation. That's how they consume content. They consume it online.
I think that my 15-year-old son is probably one of my best market researchers.
That's right. You better believe he is. If you want to be where the puck's going, then he's
right.
He's
I
the
want
kid
to know
watch.
he knows all kinds of social media platforms I've never even heard of. He knows how to do all this stuff that I don't even know what that is. I'm like, what is that? So I'm kind of learning from him, because that's what the generation is into. I think we sometimes, and you said marketing. I think that sometimes we instinctively market to us. Like, where would I find the book, and then that's what I'm going to market to. But we forget that, where's our targets and where are they hanging out? So is it Facebook Watch? Is it YouTube? Is it, different things? So it's almost, and I'm telling you, video is becoming huge. I use it. Here, dude, you got to use this. So I use BombBomb.com, BOMB. BombBomb.com is a video email service. And that's what I use whenever I go to apply for speaking engagement. I literally, 2-minute video. Hey, this is who I am. I'd love to speak at your conference. Here's how I can contribute. Here's my value. Blah, blah, blah. Boom. Put it in an email, and it's sent. And so 82% open rates using video email. 82% open rate is what I'm at right now.
That's pretty strong, man.
Dude, it's video email.
Yeah.
And that's what's crushing it right now. BombBomb.com, man. I'm telling you, you gotta check it out.
I'm gonna check it out as soon as we hang up.
There you go. And I'm telling you, the response that you get from them, like John Vroman told me one time, he's like, man, what you do is you have your website, and you make a tab or a page or whatever on your website to where you put a welcome video inside of like your actual page, but you put a welcome video and you just name it whatever the company is that you're trying to speak to. And so what you do is they're like, well, what's your website? Oh, it's this / bestseller publishing. I want to speak at bestseller publishing's, conference or whatever. So it's, like my website, thesuccesscore.com / bestseller publishing. but that's the website that I would give you, and then you click on it, and there's a, hey, Rob, nice to meet you. How's it going? It's like a personalized video. That's what gets him booked 90% of the time is doing stuff like that, doing videos.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff.
So let's bring it home, man. Give me a shameless plug. You can plug your friends, quotes, websites, Facebook, your products, your business, whatever you want to shout out. This is your time to shine. Shameless plug. Go.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I'd say for anybody that is interested in creating like serious authority and becoming the hunted in their business, if they're a coach, a consultant, a speaker of some kind, then we can certainly help them with that. I'd suggest maybe a good place to start is on our website, bestsellerpublishing.org, so it's bestsellerpublishing.org. And check us out. And if we can help or serve in some way, there's 1,000 ways to connect with us on that website, then let us know, and we'd be happy to serve.
I love it. And so can you deliver your best nugget of knowledge that will motivate, transcend, and inspire someone to take action today?
Yeah, I hope so. I'll do my best. I'd say that now more than ever in history, because of the tools we have, you have an opportunity to create a sense of celebrity and authority in any space you want to create it in, using a book, using social media, and the internet. It is easier than it has ever been, but in the next few years, it's going to start getting exponentially more difficult as more and more people flood the market. So now is the time to take action and get started.
Boom. So what would be that call to action?
It depends where somebody is, but I would say the first step is most certainly to really take a good hard look at your expertise, whatever that expertise is, and see how a book can help to position you as an authority. And then from there, it's using the book in conjunction with social media, with the internet, with podcasts, with blogs, with radio, even with traditional media like television. All of these things build on each other, but for us, the foundation is always the book.
Boom. Dude, this has been so much fun. I've learned a ton. Great strategies inside of this episode,
Thanks, brother.
man.
It's been a blast,
get
man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I want to thank you so much, for Steve connecting us together and having you on the show. And I'm going to be following you, man. I'm going to be following you through 2018. And I've got some anthology kind of ideas that I want to do. I want to have like a combination of a Jack Canfield kind of chicken soup book, kind of an anthology. But literally, I want to name it like the No BS, No Fluff Guide to, and then whatever real estate. The no BS, No Fluff Guide to attracting media, speaking engagements, whatever. Like that's the type of anthology books I'm thinking of, like a literal manual of a how-to, and then you take like the best 10 people crushing it and put them in a book. That's kind of where my thought is.
I love it. I think it sounds great, and it's a little Dan Kennedy-ish, the whole no BS thing.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
Yeah, man. So I'm thinking that once I get settled in to 2018, you'll be the call that I make to say, hey, Rob, what do you think, man? So.
All right. Well, you got my number, man. Reach me.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, man. So, have a great, great time, man. Thank you so much, man. I can't thank you enough.
Thanks, brother. You too.
So, Life Transformation Radio listeners, there you have it. The ultimate strategies right there come up from the guy who is absolutely crushing it and making authors bestsellers. You have to connect with him. He gave you the websites. They're all in the show notes. And get that free offer that he's giving you. You must have this. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to do it. So I'm telling you, you got to connect with Rob Kosberg from Bestseller Publishing. If you've ever wanted to write a book, do it today. So as we close the show, I always say, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out those values that you have deep in your heart. And I call that living your brand. So until next episode, have a great night.
skydiving. This is amazing.
Yeah, but you know what else is amazing? An iPhone 6S for just $49 at Metro.
Really?
Imagine streaming all the way down with that amazing camera. I'm switching.
That's smart.
You know what else is smart? Parachutes.
Switch to Metro and get an amazing iPhone 6S for only $49. Metro by T-Mobile. Phone offer requires port-in of number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Why is it that when someone asks you to just trust them, you just don't? Because trust is tricky. You can't just say it. You have to back it up. AAA Auto Insurance has been doing that for over 100 years. As quickly as a car accident happens, AAA starts to set things right, matching you with the right experts who make your claim their priority until you're back behind the wheel. Talk to a AAA insurance agent at your local AAA store today or visit AAA.com/insurance to learn more about AAA.